What's up everybody, JP here with Rideways Productions. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Stream Deck and how you can incorporate it into your daily production workflow. Things like music, video, even photo editing. Turns out you can get a lot of use out of one of these things, even if you're not a streamer. Before we get started, make sure to click and subscribe down below. Tap. Don't smash. Okay, first thing we're going to do, get rid of all of these actions. I'm not a streamer. That's the whole point of this video, right? Alright, let's open the Stream Deck, put in a switch profile, and just for test purposes, let's just imagine this whole main one is empty. I'm going to start a new profile. Let's just delete this because you don't need it. It's just a quick thing to the Envato website. Alright, now we're going to go in and edit the profile. We want to name it, so for test purposes, let's call it Test. Yeah, that just came off the top of my head. And moving on. All right, let's go back to the main profile just to name this. And put it so it goes directly to the profile you want it to go to. So we'll call it Test. So now we know when I hit this, it's for test. As you see right there. I also like to do a main profile and pretty much all my other profiles. It gets me back and forth. You can make it go just to the next profile. I don't see the point of that. I like it just going right to main, so I can always go back and forth. Pretty simple. All right, let's go into the system menu now. These are going to be all your computer macros. So for instance, there's open. We're going to start with that, which is basically what it says it does. You pick a application. In this case, I'm going to pick Safari and click it, and that's it. That's all it takes. And I like that it adds the icon. It actually brings it in for you. So visually, you can look down at your Stream Deck and just see it. It's perfect. All right, next, website does exactly what you think it does. So we're going to open Safari with our new button. Nice and simple. Let's go to, let's see, Sweetwater, I think we'll go with. Sweetwater comes up. I'll just copy the URL, go down, go back. Now we go to the options of the website icon. Copy the URL, name it, and now we know it goes to Sweetwater. Down here, you could choose the font, the size, everything. It gives you all the options you want, just so, you can make the wording as big as possible within the icon, because sometimes it can be pretty small and you can't read it. So I like to download icons and put them in there. I'll show you that more later. Here, I'll add another website. So let's do Universal Audio. It's another one I go to a lot. I'm going to copy this URL, throw it in. Same thing, copy the URL, title it so I know. When you hit enter, now I'll show you, it moves all the lettering up so it kind of keeps everything center. You can change that if you want. What I like now is when I hit Sweetwater, it adds another tab. So if you're on the internet already, it doesn't just reload something and you don't lose your spot, which is important. All right, let's do hotkeys now. Everyone knows Command C, right? Very simple. That's copy, so I'll name it. So now every time I hit this button, it will do the Command C macro for me. I tend to use them for a little more intricate ones, like the Option Command B one. That's in Pro Tools. That's the bounce, so I can bounce my track down and get it ready for release. Next is text. Does what it says it does. So for instance, I like to use it for passwords. So if you have a long password on your computer, so whenever you have to download anything or do anything, a lot of times it'll ask you for a password. And if it's long, it can be annoying, especially if you're doing a lot of downloading. Now when I hit the button, I like to make it hit enter, so that way it'll instantly type out my text and hit enter. All right, next is hotkey switch. Now I don't really have any good use for this, unless you know of a program that has something that needs to be on and off, but there's really no indication or cue to let you know that it is on or off. I personally haven't found anything, so if you have like the same hotkey for something, it'll just flip back and forth with it. It's really easy to set up. It's a good visual for when you need it. Again, I have nothing that I can really use it for, but you might. Moving on. Next is multimedia. This will control things for you, even on your computer. In my case, like I can hit increase volume. So when I hit the button, it will increase the volume, but I have an audio interface that I use, so it's not going to work for me. Also, there's other options like play, pause, next, track. So if you have Spotify or iTunes open, it will work for that. Next is Stream Deck options. these are going to work with your system menu options. So let's start off with create folder, which what this does is it gives you more options. So if you run out of macros or shortcuts or anything you want in a specific profile and you want to add more, that's what this is for. And it gives you a whole new 14, and they all always have the back button so you can get out of the folder and back into the original profile that you were in. Easy, simple, just gives you more options. All right, the next is the switch profile option, which you saw a little bit of. I like it going directly to where I want. Every profile that I make will always have a main back button, so I can always get to the main source, which then has all my other profiles in. So I'm always going back and forth. I don't like doing the next profile thing or anything. All right, next we have timer, which is exactly what you think it is. And it puts it within your Stream Deck, which is pretty cool. If you have a podcast or whatever, you need to do a timed countdown for anything, this will do it. And if you see here in the corner, counts down and beeps for you. Next is brightness, which is exactly what you think it does. Controls the brightness of the Stream Deck. Sometimes you may want it, dimmer or brighter, depending on what you're doing, depending on the lighting in the room. I tend to keep it at maximum a lot. I have no idea. Maybe you're going to want it dimmer. All right, now we have multi-action. I use this one actually a few times. I like this one. All right, I'll show you what it can do. Let's start by opening up an application first, right? So we'll do notes, just simple, something easy. Notes opens up quick, so I think it's a good little tester. What I'll do is a delay now. So this will delay between each macro. In this case, I'm only going to do a second because it's notes. It opens pretty quickly. Then after that, I want it to start a new note, say. So I know the hotkey is Command N. So now I'm going to start a new note as soon as it opens. So now when I hit the multi-action button on the Stream Deck, it's going to open up notes, start me a new note. And boom, there you go. I like it. Oh, and you can actually show you with the password how quickly it actually does it for you. You can do it, and it's instant. It's nice, especially when you're in a rush and you don't feel like typing your whole password in. Now this is multi-action switch, so it's basically a multi-action, but it does 2 different actions in a row, just like the other switch that we had. In this case, again, I'll do notes. Open that up. Do the same thing with the delay. Keep it at 1 second. I'll do the hotkey. Start a new note, and just for test purposes, I'm going to make it so that it gets dimmer when I have notes come up, because I don't like writing notes to a very bright screen for some reason. I don't know. All right, so now we'll go to the second action. So after I'm done writing my note, I'm going to want to quit it out and maybe make the brightness come back on the Stream Deck. Again, these are just hypothetical things. These aren't things you would actually use it for. I'm going to have it quit with Command Q. And then I'm going to have the brightness go back up to maximum, which is where I tend to like it. So now when I hit it once, we'll get notes come up. It'll start a new note like you see. I'll type. And then when I hit it again, you can see that it quits out of notes, brings the brightness back to where I like it. And that's it. There's also a random action, which you can put all of these, you can put different hotkeys, text, multimedia. You can do whatever you want. You can have it open an app. It just randomly chooses one. Someone needed it, I guess. Next is SOUNDBOARD, which is what it is. It can play audio as you hit the button. So if you have a podcast or a show and you have different noises or sound effects that you need to pop up, this will do it. So you can even create folders. So if you have different segments in your podcast or show and you want a different batch of effects and sounds for each one of those, you can do that. So you can be really organized when you're doing your show. You don't have to think a lot. It's really simple. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'll bring in my watermark I use for beats when I'm showing people, so that way they don't just steal things. This is unedited, unaffected. I usually put an effect on it, but for test purposes, I'll show you what it is.
Ride Waves Productions presents.
That's it. It's that simple. You have different options too, of course. So you have the play stop, you have play overlap.
Ride Production present.
So that'll play it over and over again without cutting it off.
Ride Production present.
Then you have stop all audio, which is if you do have long pieces of audio that'll just overlap, you can stop it quick.
Ride.
And that's play restart. So it'll cut the audio off and do exactly what you think. Next, we have Twitter, which logs directly into your Twitter account right in the software. So when you pick your Twitter account, you now can tweet anything you need to tweet. So in my case, I'm putting up a new video. I just hit a button and that's it. It'll do it for me. So for instance, watch. And here I can put the URL to my page, so it'll always post it. It's pretty cool. And then if you have one for a new song, for instance, which I tend to do as well, I could just have another tweet for it. So next is light controls. I have Philips Hue going all through my house, including the studio. So I have all the controls I need. I can shut the lights on, off, I can change scenes. Next we have custom. I have the Apple Mail in this one. I like to use the Apple Mail one because it has a script in it that lets me know if I have unread messages, so it's nice. I also have something that shows me CPU usage, which is important when you're working with DAWs and video editors, of course. Then we have more actions, which is you can download all of these custom actions. They have tons of them. I have a few that I downloaded, of course, and they have other light companies as well. I know Hue has one. There's a few other ones that you can do, like Lumia, I think it is. The next thing is pretty important for workflow, actually. It'll do an automatic profile switch. So when I go into the edit profile, I can choose which Stream Deck options come up depending on what application I'm in. Really helpful, really quick. It's nice when you look down and your Stream Deck automatically switched profiles to whatever application you're in. All right, next we have custom icons. I have a lot of websites that I go to that I use and have to frequent. I put them all in my Stream Deck under a new folder, but I don't like having to read it. So what I did was went online, typed in whatever company, for instance, like DistroKid icon, and I just downloaded the icon, converted them to PNG, or sometimes when you drag off of an icon out of Google, it is a PNG already. So I'm not sure if there's any other type of files that is compatible with the Stream Deck, but right now it's just PNG. So after I download the icon, what I'll do is I'll have a separate folder that I made just for the Stream Deck logos, and I always put them all in. So when I do want to either switch or look for it, I know where it is. For instance, I have it under here. So you'll see I have a whole folder of just all the applications and all the websites, stuff that I need just to keep everything organized. And again, it's good for workflow. Another cool feature is creating your own custom icons. When you click down on the icon menu, it'll say custom icon, brings you right to the website. You have all of these options and it's really customizable. You can put whatever you want in there. You can change the color of it. You can add text to things. You can also, which is one of my favorite parts of this, is you can import your own icons or your logo, anything, and you can put it right on your Stream Deck. For instance, I could have it go right to my YouTube page whenever I want to do any edits or start to upload. I just like how it's super customizable, this thing, and it's all right there at your fingertips. I mean, this Stream Deck really helps my workflow. It's improved it significantly already. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from this today. This has been JP from Rideways Productions. Don't forget, click and subscribe down below. If you want even more out of your Elgato Stream Deck, make sure you watch my video on how to make your own shortcuts in Mac OS X.